PlayStation Showcase! Welcome to GG Replay, your Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcast, breaking down the latest in gaming news, hosted by us, the Goodnight Groofs, a place for games and a place for goofs. You know, we're workshopping the slogan, but we're getting there. It is Friday. It is September 10th, 2021, and we have just had a huge PlayStation Showcase. But you know what? That is not all the gaming news today, and today we're really going to focus on what else there is going on, because we have a plethora of other places to check out our hot takes on what we've already done. I am Paul, and I am joined, as always, by Matt. How are you doing on this fine Friday, my friend?
I'm good on this fine Friday. I'm still living off the hype from yesterday.
Oh yeah, it
Still
will
hyped.
feed me.
And I do have a soda fact. Now I'm gonna call this sort of like baby's first soda fact. I'm going with a very simple one today, but it's one that I think everyone should know. If you're gonna listen to the show and you're gonna become a soda aficionado by the end of it, you need to know this fact. This is your baseline fact, okay?
All right.
Paul, why are soft drinks called soft drinks?
Because water was once hard that they used? And this was like
No. It's because they don't have alcohol in them.
Oh, hard alcohol.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes total sense. Like a hard apple cider,
Yeah,
a hard lemonade. Okay.
So there you go. That's sort of your baseline soda soft drink fact. We can expand from there. We'll branch out from there.
That's a great one. I really like that. Just a reminder to everyone, we do a little bit of soda facts on Friday to, lighten up. It's a casual Friday. We're coming in, having a lovely week, and we had a great stream yesterday. For those of you who didn't check it out, we streamed the PlayStation Showcase 2021 live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/goodnightgroofs. We had a ton of fun. Matt and I and Josh and Mike were also in the chat with many others. And we also have a VOD of that and highlights on our YouTube channel, and you can check out all of our top major hits from that. So if you're wondering why there hasn't been a ton of PlayStation stuff, there isn't going to be a ton of PlayStation stuff in this show. That is probably why, but we will talk about it a little bit briefly after we go through the reviews. Just a reminder before we get started today, if you come across any necessary corrections in today's episode, please send them to ggreplayshow@gmail.com or head down to the YouTube comments below so we can address them in the next episode. All right, Matt, the reviews are in. It is Friday. The reviews are in, and I will tell you right now, we have some interesting games to review. First off, the unfortunately named IMO, Lost in Random, got a 79 on OpenCritic, and it's out right now. This game looks pretty interesting. I think it looks like a Tim Burton. It really, I feel like follows up on Psychonauts 2 well, with this kind of like classic 3D platformy, action-y thing going on with these really colorful, creepy looking characters. It looks like a lot of fun. I think the name Lost in Random feels like something like a 12-year-old wrote.
Yeah, see, I get where they were going with the name because of like the random roll of dice and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it is not the greatest name.
Yeah. But, any other thoughts on Lost in Random?
Well, I want to play this game. I'm really excited for this game.
I saw this and I thought this looked like a spooky season. Like, this is something you would have streamed last year, I feel like.
Totally. Yeah, this is this, when we first learned about this at the EA Play event, I don't know, a couple months ago now, I guess. Yeah. I was hyped. This was my favorite thing that I saw.
The State of Play, right?
No, this was an EA.
I thought it was
EA
State
Play
of Play
Live.
Oh, okay.
It might have been in a State of Play as well, but it showed up first at the EA Play Live, and it was my favorite thing in that show. Obviously, that was the same show where we learned about the Battlefield portal, I think.
Yeah.
So that was cool too. But Lost in Random really blew me away. Just it's a game that's up my alley, and so I'm excited for it. And it's cheap too. I think it's only a $30 game. So
yeah, very fair pricing. Funny enough, and just to we were talking about video game pricing the other day, but I found out I really got psyched to play Life is Strange: True Colors after talking about it the other day, and I looked at it. It's a full price $60 game.
Really?
It's not going to happen from me. $80 in Canada? Forget that. I could buy like AAA massive 100-hour story games, and I'm not trying to compare the two, but also the original Life is Strange was $25. Life is Strange 2 was $40. This is $60. And are you really going to tell me we're that much higher up in terms of quality?
It'll be on sale soon. Those ones go on sale soon.
That's what I'm hoping for. I know it's going to be on sale, but we'll see. I think I might be waiting till maybe this time next year, but we'll have to see what is going to go on with that. Moving on to the other game that we have that was reviewed today. A lot of stuff came out today, but we talked about the reviews earlier in the week. This was Ultra Age, an action RPG. Got a 75 on OpenCritic, very commendable score. It is out now, pretty middling score, I will say. I mean,
Yeah.
not bad, but nothing like outstanding. They did the job. It looks good. It looks kind of like I got like near vibes
Yeah,
from
me
some of
too.
the
Me
some
too.
of the artwork. But the big numbers, Devil May Cry, big sword kind of thing a little bit. It reminded me of that game that Xbox kept trying to push, Scalebound or whatever, where
Oh,
it was like a
really?
big open world, like numbers smashing sword stuff all the time. It's not the dragon part, but I'm just like, yeah, I remember that kind of thing. And I remember seeing that game, and I felt like it looked dated then, and
Yeah.
now I feel like this continues to look dated.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look like a game that would be coming out in 2021.
Yeah,
It just looks like a game that might have been at the top of its genre like 10 years ago, but now it
yeah,
kind of just it's falling behind. There are games that they're just better games that do the exact same thing.
yeah,
So also another unfortunate name, like just not a good name. Ultra Age, it's not a good name.
yeah. It's kind of cool, but I think they should have like added an extra word in there or something. I just feel like it's a little too vague. Don't quite know what it is. All right. Well, we have some time here. Let's talk a little bit about the PlayStation Showcase, just a tiny bit, because we have all our main hot takes and our reactions on our highlight stream, and our highlight reel that we have on YouTube. But Matt, what was the most exciting stuff to you at the PlayStation Showcase? I think both of us can answer with one studio's name, and that's Insomniac.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to bust out your favorite thing from the show?
Well, number one, and I mean Marvel's Wolverine. I can't
Yeah,
tell you. I was just
yeah, yeah,
after the show and after we did our podcast last night. I was talking to my wife about it. I'm like, yeah, I can't explain how hyped I am for this game. But at the same time, this is probably so far off that I'm just gonna have to like forget about it for a little while, so I'm
yep.
not just thinking about it the whole time. But yeah, I am unbelievably hyped for that game. And then Insomniac, because they're absolute machines, are also doing Spider-Man 2.
Oh, so excited! Can't believe it.
It's so funny. After we saw the Wolverine announcement, we were literally talking. I literally said like, "Well, I don't know what this means for Spider-Man 2." And then the next
Yeah,
trailer is
yeah. We spent
Spider-Man
like
2.
a while because they showed Gran Turismo footage during the middle of between the two trailers, and we were kind of like, all right, Spider-Man. Maybe we won't see Spider-Man for a few years. That's okay. Maybe that's fine. Wolverine's a good pick, and then both of them are happening like at the same time. Insane. So cool. Obviously, it looks like with 2023 being a Spider-Man date, Wolverine might come after, but at the same time, like 2024, hopefully, not too much further than that. But at the end of the day, I think you're right, Matt. It's one of those things that's just nice to know they're working on it. It's nice to know that it will be coming because we don't even know what to expect. So I think that helps with the hype too. It's not like they showed what it's going to be. So you're like, oh, I want to play that type of game right now. It's more just like, oh, I love Wolverine. A good Wolverine game will come out in a few years. Good to know. Good to
Yeah.
know.
And then God of War
Um,
Ragnarok, we got a name finally, the official
yeah.
name. It had everyone knew it was going to be called God of War Ragnarok.
Insanely leaked. Yep.
But it looks fantastic. It looks honestly maybe even better than I was expecting, considering it's
Yeah.
going to be cross-gen. Visually,
Mhm.
we saw like actual like people in a village, which it was interesting because there were like you could probably count on like one hand the amount of NPCs in the first game. That was
Yep.
always kind of strange to me. So that's going to be something that's different.
It is
Yeah,
cool to see not a dead. It felt like more of a dead world that was already kind of abandoned when you were
yeah.
playing in the first game. And yeah.
The whole showcase overall was amazing. I really recommend you checking out
Yeah.
our highlights for that. We also have the Game Groups episode for this week. We literally go game by game and
We
discuss
talk.
everything in
It's
the show.
it's the meat of the show. It's an extra long one. We talk about it for a while. So if you're interested in any of our hot takes or just a nice recap of what happened, you can check that out.
It's out
But
now, so go listen to
it's
it.
out now. So did you put
If
is
you're
the
a
game
patron,
if you're a patron for the Game Groups
yeah,
episode?
it'll
But
be out by the time this show is
yeah,
up. So
the
yeah,
highlight video on YouTube is up though, right?
the highlight video on YouTube is up. The Game Groups
So cool.
episode is up for patrons, and it'll go public Sunday.
All right. Well, that's it for PlayStation for right now. I think, unless we have any other hot button stuff, because we talked about it so much. I feel like there's people are gonna be sick of it. All right. Moving on, we have some actually interesting stuff that happened today. So first off, the Epic versus Apple lawsuit has been ruled. First off, Apple lost to Epic in the sense of the main tenant, which is that they must allow App Store devs now to redirect users to other payment systems. So you can have, Netflix, getting redirecting you to their website to get a Netflix account, or that you can have V-Bucks and things like that through there without Apple taking their 30%. That is something that the court ruled that they had to do. But on the flip side, Apple did countersue Epic, saying that they should have gotten their 30% profit for Epic breaking the TOS during the time that they
Okay.
were breaking it, and Epic lost that countersuit. So Epic does owe 30% of their revenues for Fortnite for iOS
Ooh,
during that period that they were breaking the TOS, which was, I believe, like fall of 2019. Anything after that, if for some reason people were still using it on iOS.
that's a lot of money.
So it's a lot of, you know what? Actually, it was only about $12 million.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Pretty
Wow.
shocking. I'm not 100% sure why the number is what it is. But it was only $12 million. So, I mean, not only, but certainly it's,
In the grand
not
scheme
in
of
the
these
grand scheme,
companies, yeah.
maybe they're paying 4 million or whatever, 12 million for Apple. It's not going to be, it's a drop in the bucket for Epic and Apple, really. So, but these companies were both here for the principle of the thing. And I think overall, this is a pretty big win for small developers and for all developers, really, to break down the walled garden a little bit on Apple. We're not saying that you have to give up your entire cut, but I think it's fair, to be able to link out to different options for buying stuff.
Yeah, this is pretty big, especially for, like you said, it could be really big for indie developers who want to keep more of their own profits because
Mhm.
it should be theirs. It's their product. I understand
Yeah.
that Apple is putting it on their home, but 30% is a big cut. I know Steam has a big cut on their store as well. Let's just lower these cuts, like for indie
There is
devs.
a middle ground. I believe Apple has it so the first million or something they don't charge you on
Oh,
unless
okay.
you're
Well,
unless
then that's okay.
but
That's fair.
there is this like weird middle ground for people who are making 1 million, but that's still not quite enough to like pay teams to expand. Like I think there's like a strange little middle ground, and I think it's mainly for that. I don't know. It's iffy. There's a lot of there's a lot of weird law here with finance, but I think overall it's a good win. I think this is kind of what we wanted. I think as consumers, not necessarily what Epic maybe wanted. I think they won, but ultimately I don't think they really got the screwed you to Apple they were 100% hoping for. Ultimately, we still aren't really seeing Epic isn't required. Apple isn't required to put Epic back on their store or anything like that. There is a separate but sort of similar issue right now of Epic wanting to put their app back on the Korean iOS app store. They want to put it on just in Korea because Korea has a new law that allows you to show like the in-game purchase, but also the V-Bucks purchase through Epic's website or something on the app. Like there's a law allowing
Oh,
them to do
okay.
that or something. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
These
Oh,
cuts are weird when like it's for a storefront. It's almost like Apple or like Steam or Epic or whoever it is sort of acting as a secondary publisher.
yeah, I agree.
Just a publisher who doesn't really help you with marketing. So they're just taking a cut because they own the store. So I don't know. I do think that there should be different rules for indie developers. But like you said, if it's a first million thing, I guess that's fair. But
Yeah, I know Android and Apple both kind of have systems similar to that, so it is what it is. But it's cool to see. We'll have to see if this continues. I know the Epic versus Google is still going on, or Alphabet. So we'll have to see how that goes as well. So other interesting kind of insider stuff. Speaking specifically of inside the Xbox Series X and S, there is a hard drive. That actually, at this point was supposed to be proprietary, and there was no way to hook up external hard drives that could run Series X and S games, not just old backwards compat games, without using a proprietary card from Microsoft. Now, this might not necessarily be the case. This was reported from Video Game Chronicle. There are reports coming in. People are trying out. Someone made a proprietary port. They made their own adapter to that port and hooked up an SSD. Now, it is the same SSD that is in the Xbox Series X, but interestingly enough, it did work through
hmm.
that port, and it's not the same one that they use in the expansion cards. That is a different card. So it's actually the card it's the SSD that's used in the Series X, which is not supposed to work in this scenario. Now we haven't seen them use totally different ones, but it's very interesting to see someone could make an adapter, mass market it, and we might be able to just use whatever hard drive we want and not pay like $100, $200 for these expandable cards, which are cool tech, but are also crazy expensive and proprietary.
Interesting. I know that
Pretty cool.
PlayStation's SSD works so well because it is proprietary and it is made specifically for the PlayStation. So I don't know. Does this mean that like yeah you can do this, but it's not going to be quite as good of an SSD?
Yeah, I think that might be the case. That we don't know yet. We just don't know. At this point, SSDs we're pretty much seeing that unless you're installing the proprietary one from Microsoft, you just weren't going to be able to run at speeds. This is not necessarily seeing the case. We're seeing it at this point looking like it's running at full speed. People are talking about running hard drives that are even faster, which there definitely are some. And that might have access to that kind of smart delivery, or not smart delivery, but that like direct storage technology.
Right.
We just don't know. This is early stuff coming in, but it is really interesting to see people messing with this. Just over a year after the console came out, it's kind of taken people a while, but interesting to see. Maybe we could get some hacked up ways of doing external hard drives again, which really should exist. I mean, they should just be honest and say like your hard drive has to be this fast, or you can't install the game. I don't know if there's a way for them to figure that out, but would be cool.
I know there's something about that with PlayStation going
Yeah,
on, but
there
I
is.
don't quite understand it exactly because to
No.
be completely honest, the when I'm playing on a console versus a PC, the whole reason why I'm playing on a console is because it's literally just a box that I have to turn on. That's why
Yep.
I'm doing it. I don't want to do any of this extra stuff. If my hard drive's not big enough, I'm just deleting a game and then installing the new one that I want to install.
I do the same thing. People were talking about the Series S when I was looking at buying it, and they were saying, "Oh, you'll be so unhappy with 500 gigabytes of storage. You need to get the Series X just because it's a terabyte." I'm like, I've always had 500. Yeah, sometimes I have to juggle AAA games, but like not that much. Like I can have two or three big games and a bunch of indies, and change out one of the big ones every once in a while. It's
Yeah.
not like it's. Obviously when I put like Call of Duty and stuff on there, it's not a good thing, but that's Call of Duty's fault. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's just
people complain about the PlayStation 5 like storage space. I have like 8 games on there right now and I could get plenty more. Like I'm
yeah.
never going to be playing that many games at the same time. I really don't
Right.
understand why someone needs 20 games on their PlayStation.
It's just like me with Quick Start. I totally get it, and I think it's good technology and that it exists. It's great, but I don't know when I'm very rarely ever like playing a game and then I have to like tab out and immediately play another one at the same time. That is so beyond me. Like maybe I think there are use cases where you have a game that's like where you have to wait for something to happen and then you can like tab into a different game. But just some people, I don't know what people are doing. Just sit down and play a game.
Yeah,
That is what these
that's
are
the thing.
for.
That's the thing about the console. Just that's it's a simplified experience that I'm playing on my couch. If
But
I
I
want
guess some people, not everyone can, afford or likes the PC experience, but they want to have this as kind of their PC, or they want to be like a bit more of a high tech experience. I get it. I get having that option, but also it's just not for me.
if you I mean if you can afford these all these extra peripherals and new SSDs for your
Yeah.
console, then you can probably afford some sort of PC. My PC is
Yeah.
pretty good and it was like $700.
Yeah. 100%. Well, chip shortage, my friends, getting crazy out there. We're moving right along. We're going to talk about we talked about earlier in the week, RuneLite HD. Well, you know what? RuneLite HD, the HD plugin that was made by a single dev, 2,000 hours, 2 years. It was cease and desisted by Jagex before it came out, just the day before it came out. But Jagex reverse course. But not only have they reverse course, they have 180'd entirely. This is now going to release on Monday, the Monday coming up. Jagex will be very involved in the trajectory of the mod going forward. They're working with the dev 117. They're working with the RuneLite team. And this is actually the first mod that Jagex has ever officially endorsed on their site. And they actually have like a page on the site explaining how to install the mod and showing off the mod. This is like the funniest course correction ever. Like they're like, if we just really go hard on this, no one's gonna think we're dicks. They're gonna think we're really nice guys. And it's like, no, it just looks silly. Like, cool, good. I'm glad they did the right thing ultimately, and I think they should endorse it, and they should because it's a great mod that pretty much did the
Yeah.
work for them of a graphic upgrade. But also, it's pretty funny to see them go so hard on something out of the blue after being pretty like medium on mods. Just being like, please, we're not dicks. We'll do anything. We'll tell you how to install it.
Between this and the latest World of Warcraft patch notes, I'm beginning to think that people just complaining to MMO companies is really starting to actually get them to do what we want.
Yeah, I think they're getting really, really sick of a lot of the stuff and like good because they're all terrible. So I appreciate seeing Jamflex get shit on a little bit, and I think they're like, please stop emailing us, please stop threatening us. We'll pre-install the mod, whatever. We'll do anything. They're obsessed.
Did you say Jamflex?
I did. I don't know. I saw everyone on the Reddit was like saying that as like a meme thing to say about Jagex or
Oh,
something.
I've never
So
heard
I'm
that.
trying to be funny. I'm trying to hit the meme. At first I thought it was a typo by autocorrect, but then everyone kept saying it, so I think it's a meme. But yeah, anything to say about RuneLite HD?
No, good for them for deciding they needed to reverse course on this. This is good for everyone. Everyone wins here. You know, maybe Jagex wanted to do their own at some point, but you know what? This guy already did it for you. So
And it sounds like from what they were talking about was like even the thing they were exploring was just lighting updates or something. And this
okay.
person like fully did like a massive remaster, like not a full remaster, but I mean, kind of, yeah. It looks insane. Again, not insane. Like, don't get your hopes up too much. It's not Dead Space
It does look
remake or
good
something,
though.
but it looks very good. It made something like RuneScape Classic to me look like something I'd actually play. Old School RuneScape, sorry.
Look, everybody wins here, and that is so rare in the world of MMOs. So let's take this win.
And it only took a massive letter writing campaign and people to personally threaten the devs. So
That's all it took. That's all it took.
All it took, guys. All right, let's talk about something else. We're moving on to Halo Infinite. We have another technical preview. It's scheduled to go live on September 24th. Now, this is cool. I love these. I like that we're getting all these technical previews. First off, because we just saw that early stuff last year of the game looking ridiculous and bad. So it's cool that they're like, okay, get in there, mess around, play with it. We're going to stress test, and we're going to see that kind of stuff. Also, my main thing, we saw the Battle Royale voice clip in the first technical preview. Data miners, get in there. Let's see what else we can see. Are we going to learn more about multiplayer modes? Are we going to see some more modes in the technical preview? Matt, do you think we're getting close to the launch? Do you think we're going to get anything new in this, or more just kind of multiplayer test?
I'd like some more concrete rumors as far as Battle Royale. I know the latest data mining things, there was like 20 some maps. There was no mention of Battle Royale. So I'm getting a little bit worried, Paul, that might not actually be showing up in this game.
It's fine. I think the multiplayer arena game with the Battle Pass is going to be popular and good, and they're going to do a good job. But I would have liked some Battle Royale. I think that would have been fun.
Yeah, look, I'm going to enjoy this game either way, but I just think that Battle Royale could really fit Halo. So I think it would have really worked well in this game, but if they don't have it, whatever. I do think at some point, if it's not at launch, it's going to have Battle Royale eventually.
It can come in with co-op campaign in the third month or whatever. When they do season 2, they can also put in Battle Royale as a little exciting thing for people.
I do want to give a quick endorsement here to Josh. Hopefully, of course, we've got 343 higher ups listening to this right now. Of course, so you know, you 343 bigwigs who are listening to this, let's get Josh of the Goodnight Groofs an invitation to this. I'm sure he would enjoy that.
Absolutely, our resident good shooter, our sweaty boy. We need him to get an invitation. So yeah, if you're listening there, 343 reps, and if any of you are hanging out, feel free. We'll do an interview. And you know what? Heading out the day today, I want to talk about God of War Ragnarok because this game looks bomb. But not only does it look bomb, and we already thought this was going to be the case, it will be a single take with no cuts like the first game. This is according to story lead Matt Sophos on Twitter. Now, this is pretty awesome. I think not only because you can already do this, we talked about this before, with this direct storage and the technology on next gen especially, you can make loading screens so short, and so you don't have to do as many of these pop-in effects. Now, I don't know how this is going to work with cross-gen, having this on PS4 as well. Maybe they'll just have longer versions, but it's cool to imagine, like, if you like, maybe there's an elevator that takes a little while, and it's not actually elevators, but stuff like that, these little moments where it's supposed to kind of make, actually there were elevators in God of War, moments where it makes you think it's not a loading screen, but it is definitely a loading screen kind of thing. I wonder if on PS5 those are going to be, as long as they have to be story-wise and not have to feel so much like, sometimes you could really tell on like a launch PS4 that some of those were like, this is a loading screen. Like, why would this story-wise take so long to go up a shaft? Like, it's not very good. So it's cool to imagine that that would help with the single cut.
Right. Well, aside from visuals, that is where the PS4 would be holding this back. They're going to have like the certain story parts, whether it's throwing in an extra line of dialogue or an extra animation here and there to let things load. Like that's extra work that's going to have to be done for the PS4 that on the PS5, maybe that 30-second cutscene would have only had to have been 4 seconds,
Exactly.
So that's a sort of situation where the game will be held back by the PlayStation 4. But if it's seamless, if it doesn't really matter, then it's not going to be that big of a deal. But
Yeah.
it would have been nice. It would have been nice to have it developed for PS5 only.
I know.
Alas.
You know what? I'm sitting here like as a PS4 player, but at this point, I kind of feel with a launch PS4, like I wouldn't really want to play this game on it anyway. I think that even the 2018 one at this point is kind of starting to chug for me a little bit on certain things, even on games that came out for that console. I feel like at this point, I'll probably just wait for me to get a PS5 at all because it's hard for me to find them, especially in Canada, but also on sale. When it's a little bit cheaper, maybe in a year or 2 years, whatever. The point is, I think I'm very comfortable waiting to play God of War over playing it on my PS4. I think there's probably other PS4 people who are with me on that versus playing a subpar experience for what is a next gen game. So it is kind of funny to see that cross gen because I'm wondering who actually, maybe PS4 Pro people really want to think it's worth it, but
I
I
guess.
don't know.
I
I
mean,
don't know. I just feel like I'm snobby enough that I just like wait it out to play the good experience.
at earliest, this is probably going to come out at least a year and a half after the PS5 launch, maybe
Right.
even up to 2.
Probably
So
two, closer to two. Yeah.
that's I really hope it's the last one because if it's anything after that, it's getting kind of silly. Like
Yeah.
we're moving on to the next console. We're not
I,
living
I
in the
want.
past anymore.
I know. I'm wondering, and I mean, I don't know if this is how the development works, but I'm wondering if they like retroactively did this due to like chip shortage and COVID or something, like made it so that it would run on both. I don't think that's possible though, because the architecture is really different, I think, between PS4. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know. I
It just
don't
seems
think
weird to
so.
have intended. Maybe they just intended the game to come out earlier initially, right? That's the whole thing.
That
And then
could be it.
COVID,
I know
COVID constraints.
Horizon Forbidden West is a PS4 game. It was developed
Yeah.
for the PS4. It just
Yeah.
is going to be on the PS5 as well. I don't know if it's the same situation for God of War. I would assume it probably is, considering they did have that at one point. The philosophy for PlayStation 5 was we believe in generations. And now we get all this cross-gen stuff going 2 years out from launch. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like these things were supposed to come out around PS5 launch, and it's like, there's a PS5 version, but it's like Miles Morales, right? It's like a little bit of an updated visual, but it still runs on the other one fine, right? It was kind of made for PS4 with some visual upgrades. And then
Yeah,
the true next gen stuff was gonna come later, but COVID and everything else, I think maybe pushed some of this stuff back just a little bit too far. A year after the console comes out, it's one thing to imagine stuff coming out that's cross gen maybe still, just because they were still in the works and they did a little HD update at the end. But yeah, a year and a half, 2 years, that's starting to get to a crazy point. But I think that's that COVID delay that's really pushing things just to that unbelievable point of being like, really, we're still on, PS4 here, especially when you guys are the ones who were like, generations. It's one thing to see it on Xbox, but it's not really the same kind of philosophy there.
a quick note on God of War Ragnarok.
Please, please.
Cory Barlog is not directing the game. We now know that he's
Hmm.
working on other stuff,
Yep.
whatever that could be. Obviously, they're very much keeping that under wraps.
Hmm.
The game's being directed by Eric Williams, who has a great pedigree with God of War.
He's been a part of every God of War game
Yeah.
that has come out in some way or another,
So
which is
he's
really
not
cool.
has not Cory Barlog, but he is very experienced with God of War,
Mhm.
and I think honestly this is a win-win because we get a guy who knows God of War really well directing it, and then we get Cory Barlog, who's a great game director, doing
Yeah.
some other secret
Yeah.
project right now.
And is still a creative like lead, so obviously I'm sure there's like
Oh, he's
some
still
he's
around, yeah.
left good breadcrumbs, and there's a lot of company culture there where people all kind of know what's going on. I would also say it's kind of cool that we're getting Barlog was good for like kind of rebooting. Not that Barlog wasn't involved in the old stuff, but it's good to see like someone kind of rebooting the franchise, taking a different spin on it, but then seeing someone who had like really worked on every single God of War coming in and maybe like tying that in a bit too, especially when this is like like a duology, not a trilogy,
Yeah,
two
yeah, yeah.
movies.
A duology.
um to see this kind of final one in the Norse saga, maybe tie in more stuff from the original stories, maybe tie in some themes from that a little bit. So
Yeah. Totally.
Interesting to see. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about all of it. I mean, yeah, it's cool to see Santa Monica just killing it right now, and Insomniac just killing it. We have so many great Sony studios who are doing a great job. They're acquiring more all the time, and if, as I've said before, but I haven't said on the replay, man, oh man, I'm becoming a bit of a Sony pony over here with some of this stuff. You know,
Uh-oh.
I'm starting to feel like, you know, what am I missing on my Series X here? If I go get a Series X, like I'm gonna miss Halo. I guess.
Play on your PC.
Well, my PC can't play Halo, but maybe one
Well,
day.
a future
Maybe
PC.
one day. Future PC. But yeah, that's the thing too. Like eventually I could just put that money towards a PC, which would be more useful for a lot of different stuff and can play most Microsoft games. So Xbox games. So, well, you know what? We did do a little bit of a short show here. I will give everyone a little, you know, we recognize that, but we've been working really hard in the last couple days, especially Matt here on editing everything out, getting everything ready for the stream. As well as our Game Groofs episode that came out today for patrons and on Sunday for everyone else. So, you know, we're gonna cool it a little bit here, give him a little less editing to do, and also I am going to go see Shang-Chi tonight, which I'm pretty psyched for.
Ooh.
So, you know, we got a good little show here for us, especially because we tried not to talk about the PlayStation stuff today because we have that in so much other of our content we want to point you to. So don't forget that we do have the YouTube video. And also we have Game Groups coming out on Sunday as well. So tons of stuff to hear about PlayStation. I thought we'd talk about some of this kind of fun gaming insider stuff, game development news today. So,
If you're an audio only listener, go into your podcast app right now that you're listening to this in. Go to the search for new podcasts, type in either Goodnight Groofs or Game Groofs, and then subscribe to that podcast as well. And then you can get the big time Sony showcase discussion in the latest episode.
exactly. And you can hear our other great groups, Mike and Josh. So
Yeah.
we can get all in there. And also, before you go and search that up, when you're going into your podcast app, make sure you give this a thumbs up or a 5-star rating, or you know whatever is your podcast app has 10 sandwiches out of 10. If you're on SandwichCast, then you know go ahead and do that because it really helps us in the algorithm. Also, if you want to leave a review, talk about how great we are, then that would be really awesome too.
That would be.
We love it. We love that. Sorry. But yeah, thank you so much. Also, another thing to check out if you love what we do have a whole friggin' website. Matt just mentioned Goodnight Groofs. We are the Goodnight Groofs. We also have goodnightgroofs.com where we have our Game Groofs podcast, this podcast, videos, blog posts. We also have links to our other socials, which is awesome. So everything is on there, including exclusive TikTok and Instagram content that we sometimes post, but we'll work on, especially if we get more followers, because we really, really appreciate that. We'd love that. And if you really like what you hear, we do have a Patreon. We did mention it a couple times real subtly in this podcast. We have a $1, $3, and $5 tier. $3 can get you early access to our podcast, Game Groofs, the all-encompassing gaming podcast, normally on a Sunday, but you can get it on Friday, as Matt has mentioned. We really, really appreciate any and all support you give us because we love to do these shows for y'all. Matt, do you have anything else to say before we sign off for the rest of this week and we take a much-needed weekend respite?
Yeah, well, I'm off to go file a lawsuit against a tech supergiant.
That sounds epic. All right, everyone. That's going to be it for GG Replay for this whole week, but we will see you again on Monday. Maybe there'll be more RuneLite HD news. You never know. It's supposed to be the date. Maybe they'll C&D one more time. Good night, Groofs.